7 o'clock. Like, not even 7:01, not even 59, 7.
Yep. So, hello, everyone. Give me 1 second, because I can hear myself, because I left that unmuted. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mythos Vanesia Living Lore Q&A stream. I am Alice, your host, as usual, and today our hot topic of discussion is world culture. Specifically, the prompt today is the continent of Kettermorn. Here with us, we have Kadre Daro, who his character in the campaign comes from the Ambalarnen Republic on the continent of Kettermorn. Say hello, Kadre.
Hello.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, as always, the stream is open for anybody to ask any questions that they wish. It doesn't have to be about the topic. The topic is merely a prompt to inspire questions. But in the absence of questions, we will just sit here a little bit and talk about the subject. Before we get into it, though, I do want to give thanks once again to Ian Fisher for providing the license to his music. Today, you are listening to Marquesian Desert, which is one of their productions in the unofficial Critical Role soundtrack. So give them a look at Tabletop RPG Music on YouTube. Fantastic work. Anyway, so Kadre, jumping right in until we have some questions to answer. Anything off the bat that you'd like to chat about on the topic of Kettermorn?
Well, I would say I think it would be fun to talk about the Sun Elven culture just because, well, I mean, it's a fun culture in the first place. And I think one of the interesting things we could touch on would be inherited cultures. So not necessarily a culture that is to explain, Kadri's not actually a sun elf. He's a lizard folk, but he was raised from an egg to a I believe it's an egg.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. Okay, good. I'm not wrong. From an egg to a fully fledged adult in the Sun Elven Empire. So as a result, he is, for all intents and purposes, on a cultural level, a Sun Elf. So I think that would be an interesting thing to talk about. You know, maybe characters or people who aren't necessarily don't necessarily have the actual racial moniker of that race, but still, for all intents and purposes, are part of that culture.
Good point. Good point. And apology, I am hearing weirdly a little bit of feedback here. Oh, that's why. Okay, I think I fixed that. No, it's my fault. All of in order to get the Discord audio, all of my my audio that goes into my headphones is fed back into Twitch, and I had my stream unmuted, so it was just
so you're hearing yourself twice.
Yes, I was hearing everything twice. Anyway, that should be fixed now. So the topic of inherited cultures, very good point. This is something that is very central to the way that I run my campaign. I don't like the idea of stuff like, you know, proficiencies, knowledges, mental characteristics, that sort of stuff, stuff that can be learned, being locked into racial features. So when we were building Kadre's character, he wanted to be a lizard folk, but he didn't want to be the stereotypical lizard folk. He wanted to have come from a more refined background, and he was interested in some of the features that you know, elves provided, and we came to the conclusion that the physical characteristics of the lizard folk would remain with him. So he kept the things like the ability to hold his breath for 10 minutes. He kept the physical stat boost that comes along with being a lizard folk, which I believe was dexterity, and all the mental characteristics, proficiencies that he gained, such as weaponry that would come from being an elf, proficiencies, or not proficiencies, the mental stat boost that elves get, which I forget off the top of my head, and I'm too lazy to reach for the book. That came with the character as well. Kind of a Frankenstein, pulling from the culture, having spent his time in the Sun Elven culture, he learned the same things that elves would learn. This is true for anybody in my game, wherever they are raised, if they want to take on those proficiencies instead, each person is an individual. I don't think that anything that could feasibly be learned should be locked in by your race. And I think that's kind of what you were getting at. Or was there more to it?
That is like almost that's pretty much half of everything I was talking about. So like, yeah, almost all of it. But I was also talking about like, and this can vary from character to character, but like, you know, even food preferences, that kind of thing.
Right.
Or like wine preferences. That one actually was part of a session at one point.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I don't remember which session we touched on it with, but
it was the one right after the fight with not Kalastari, but the councilman.
Valoran?
Valoran, yes, Valoran.
Right.
The one right after the one with Valoran, where Kadre goes and meets his mentor.
Okay, yeah, so, well then let's talk a little bit about that, because then we can touch on the actual native culture there. So, Kadre comes from the Sun Elven Republic of Ambalarnen. It is colloquially known as the Sun Elven Republic, because it was founded by the Sun Elves, and about half of the population is made up by Sun Elves, but it is actually one of the most diverse nations on the surface of Vanis, because they are very, very accepting and open culture. It's why they tend towards a republic instead of, you'll see a lot of empires and kingdoms in the world, places that are, you know, united under a single ruler or a council. The republic is very democratically driven instead. They are well, here, so I don't know how well everyone can see the map, but I will hold it up for a second. Now, please do bear in mind that this is a work-in-progress map. I am currently blowing up the version that I drew originally and adding more detail, so only like half of the major landmarks are visible here. But if you see over here, right? Yes, over here on this side, with the large valley and rivers, that is the territory of the Ambalarnen Republic. It occupies actually the whole western side of that continent, which also happens to be the lushest region of Kettermorn, which is home to a lot of arid land, savanna, desert, and steppe. Since they hold that very lush region in between the mountains, the mountain valley there, wine is a very important part of the culture, which is how we got on the topic in the first place. Let me see if I can pull up some snippets. Here we go. Along with rich cuisine and art, the city benefits from a hefty, or rather the nation benefits from a hefty influx of wine from the central regions of Ambalarnen, which are more shaded and suited for the growth of such grapes, and from the Sultana to the east, which they border on very closely. The Sultana trades heavily from the Duchy du Vane, which is it is a duchy on the continent of Albion, famous across the world for its rich valley full of the best wines in the world. As such, drinking is constant and cultural. The Sun Elves are a very bright and vibrant people. Parties are expected. Festivals are very raucous. And often a lot more open and free than you'll see other cultures be comfortable with. Other, what would the term be? More centralized. No, not centralized.
What meaning are you wanting?
Like large, like nations like Etheria and Albion, Prude.
Wait.
Because I don't want to say advanced, because that is not the appropriate term. There are very advanced tribal nations and conglomerates in my world.
Conservative.
Conservative. There we go. That actually works well. And I do apologize. I'm being very ADHD, so I've forgotten what my point with all of this is. But
well, we were talking about how the festivals are, how they're
right,
raucous, exciting, and
colorful.
Yeah.
Open, free. Yeah, I won't get into the specific details of that, because some of the festivals that are common in Ambalarnen are a little adult, at least one of them. So we won't talk about that here, but just know that is a thing. I think I'll circle back around and talk about the fact that, so again, I said, although colloquially it's known as the Sun Elven Empire, about half of it is made up of very diverse peoples. As a part of their openness, they are extremely accepting. They have a zero tolerance policy for discrimination within their borders. All people are accepted, which is where Kadre's story kind of comes in. He was raised within the Sun Elven culture, even though he is lizard folk, because his father, adopted father, is a very high executive in one of the largest trading companies. And when a ship crashed within their routes bearing a lizard folk egg, he took it upon himself to take in the child and raise Kadre as his own. This is actually quite common within the Empire. Individuals who are cast off from other places will often end up in the Republic and be raised by or introduced into families of individuals that live here. So I think that's a good little summary to start out with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that that was the one that we wound up going with. I don't remember all the details of, when we were doing all that selection and stuff, but I remember Aelin said something a bit ago that really struck with me. How they said that Aelin has not turned out anywhere close to the way I thought she would.
Mm-hmm.
And in many ways, I feel kind of the same about Kadre, because I think I was expecting him to be a much darker, closed off, mysterious character, and instead, from the very beginning, from the way we started developing him, he became a much more open and vibrant character, simply because of the culture that we ended up putting him in.
Yes.
Which relates back to the inherited culture thing. And I guess I'm sorry, I think I've lost my own point.
That's okay. We are both being a little ADHD today. But yeah, no, I think that's excellent. I think that actually happens more frequently than people account for when they're creating characters in a game like this. You'll envision it one way, and it'll turn out vastly different than you expected, even before the character growth, which changes them, even more than you expected. I do actually remember how we settled on putting Kadre there. It was you had a particular class combination that you started with, so it was
the only one that would work.
Yes. So it was the Rogue Assassin and the College of Whispers Bard. Now, in my games, I typically don't allow people to begin multi-classing until a certain level. And I think I set that level at 5, which is what you guys were starting at. Right? Or did I start you at 6?
I think it was 5.
5?
Actually.
Yeah. Which would mean, of course, that, you would have had... if I had limited you like that, then you would have had to have 5 levels in a class and then start taking more. But, canonically, prior to this campaign, not only had I written a character from Ambalarnen, who had that multi-class combination already, I had developed a concept for where they came from and why this class combination existed. So the College of Whispers is in fact an actual bardic college, a secret bardic college that exists within Ambalarnen at the College of the Six Spires, the most famous bardic college in the world, and the place where people are expected to go, in the capital city, which I always butcher the pronunciation of. 1 second. Mardirenia. There we are. Got it, correct? Yep. In the capital city there. So, of course, from there I built the vibrant culture out from that. It's, well, if they're the most famous bardic college, then what is
they are party animals.
Yeah, what is... What's the culture around them like? Parties. Okay, makes sense. But yeah, that's how we landed on Ambalarnen, is, you had to have wound up there somehow, and the most likely scenario was you were raised there.
Okay, so this actually, I have a question now, and how did you come up, with that class combination? Yeah. Because I know how I mentally write it, but it really surprised me when I found out that you'd done it before then as well, and I was just like, "That's really cool. I wonder how they came up with it."
Okay, so interesting thing. This is meta knowledge, but it's not anything that would really affect the campaign anyway. Lykel.
Yeah.
Lykel's whole character concept, I introduced her in my home game, which had begun prior to me starting my game with you all. She was introduced before I even knew that I was going to be running y'all's campaign. Her character concept, now she is not actually she is not actually College of Whispers.
Okay.
She is... Hold on. She is College of Discord. Very fitting for her. But her concept was, when I made her, I made the College of Whispers. She was supposed to be a repeat character occurring in that campaign, that had people after her because she had been recruited for the College of Whispers, and got in and started training, hated it, and then just ditched, without any kind of execration process. And the College of Whispers involves a lot of secrets. And she just kind of said, "Fuck you guys, I'm out." Yeah, so I had characters that were after her that had that class combination. Not all of them. If you go to the College of Whispers, you don't necessarily have to end up as that combination. Assassin, College of Whispers, you can go full College of Whispers, you can go full Assassin. And some other classes around it. But, the concepts stay very, very... they're centered around being a spy. That's the whole point of the college. So.
All right. I've just been wondering it for a while. I was like, it made total sense. The more I thought about it, but I was just like, I'm always curious about like other GMs, other players' like thought processes. So I was just curious.
Yeah, no, so I was kicking myself laughing when you made that. Because like I told you, you had the idea for the violin that can be a rapier, and she, when I introduced her, already had Fleur de Lis, the violin. It didn't have that name. You came up with the name, but you know.
Rely on me for dad joke.
Absolutely. I'm so proud as a fellow dad joker. I'm so proud of you.
I just thought of another magical item that Kadre may get commissioned at some point, or may search for, and it's going to be the absolutely.
Oh God. But what will it do? Does it even matter? Are you just going to give me the name and expect me to write it?
No, I know what it would do. It would literally be like, it would just, every time you use it, it would counterspell spells cast by enemies.
God.
It'd just be absolute. Like, it would do nothing else. It would just, and it'd be like a legendary, really expensive item.
What if it was just a really cheap magic item, and all it did was, like, once a day when you strummed it, it summoned a bottle of absolute vodka? Double joke.
Yeah. It's a pun. It's a pun.
Yeah, sponsor me. No, I'm kidding. Anyway.
That would definitely be something that would be made in Ambalarnen.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, it would. Absolutely. Ha! Okay, getting super off topic now.
Yeah. But hey, we can back on topic by talking about Ambalarnen and the culture there.
We can, indeed. Which... sorry, Slev, I know that you're in pain listening to this, but, you know me, you're just gonna have to put up with that.
Is he suffering from dad jokes?
Suffering from dad jokes. Suffering from success. Anyway, so getting back to the culture then. Goodness, so what else to talk about?
Well, I mean, we could always talk about the nuanced part of the trade industry there, or we could actually talk about like the landscape itself, like topography, plants, that kind of stuff. Because I mean, I know.
Well, Slev says that he wants to hear more about the spooky secret Bard College.
Oh, okay.
That is a good question. Who did start that? Well, that is a good question because that is something that I haven't written, which is the whole point of these streams, because I get to answer that now.
And write it out now.
Indeed. So, with the College of Whispers, so the College of the Six Spires has existed for many, many centuries. It wasn't always Six Spires. As the Bardic arts expanded, they added new spires, and of course, so the whole point is, one moment, we have, how many Bard subclasses are there? I think it should be 6.
That's right. I know there's lore, swords, glamour.
So we have lore, valor. Those are the two basic classes. And then we have Xanathar's added 3 more, which was glamour, swords, and whispers. So that makes 5, and oh no, that's right. I called it the 5 spires.
Oops.
Not 6 spires, because the 6th is a secret. Wait. I may
Don't. No, I think it's the 4 spires, and the 5th is a secret.
Hold on. This is in your character knowledge sheet.
I'll go look.
Hall of the 5 Spires. College of Daruenya, the Hall of the 5 Spires.
Okay.
We have
Take notes.
valor, swords, lore, glamour, and eloquence. There we go. The College of Creation is not a part of that college. Anyway, so they built up bit by bit. The Republic was not always as large as it was, nor were any of the nations on the surface of Vanis. You know what? Let me backtrack. I'll write from there. So, talking about Ambalarnen. Ambalarnen is a very friendly nation. It is kind of buddy-buddy with practically everybody in the world. They don't really get involved in wars. They try and maintain good relations with every other nation that they can. But, of course, they have their own interests to enforce. This was kind of where the College of Whispers started. Rather than specializing in warfare, the nation of Ambalarnen specializes in espionage. So I'd say... Well, I'd have to say, actually, it's been about between 1,000 and 800 years since the College of Whispers was founded. Let's put it at 1,000, because the war between Duskmorrow and Aramea has been raging for longer than that, and that's something that they kind of keep an eye on, and would definitely want agents in. As for who started it, though, I'd say... I don't know if I can really answer a specific individual. Partly because it's really difficult to, like, give more on an individual than just the fact that they would have been an influential member of Ambalarnen, probably somebody in both in a governmental position and who was already part of the college itself. But I think that their identity would really be a secret. Out of tradition at this point, but like for hundreds of years after its foundation, they would have been Sun Elven, that's for sure, which means that they would have lived for centuries. So for a very, very long time, their identity would have had to be secret, because that's just kind of a part of the college, you know. And then after that, it would have become tradition. Because obviously the College of Whispers being as it is, like every member of the College of Whispers, their identity remains a secret. More recently, it has turned to, like, you end up with people in Kadre's position. Quite often, people who exit the College of Whispers are put into positions of, what's it called? I can't remember what that's called. Blanking. Sorry. Ambassadorship.
Yeah, okay.
So like as soon as they're discovered, they have to be completely like excommunicated from the college or withdrawn back into Ambalarnen, because once their identity is revealed as a spy, you know, you can't really participate in foreign affairs anymore. You can only participate in domestic ones. I wonder if they ever would have been discovered, then. Let's roll for that. Kadre, give me a range of numbers somewhere in a d20.
If what would have been discovered?
The founder.
Oh, okay. Do you just want a range of numbers between 1 and 20?
Yeah, whatever you think is appropriate for a chance.
Are you asking like random numbers, or are you asking like a range, like a
just
X?
Give me a range, like, you know, 1 to 5. 10 to 20.
Sorry, excuse me.
Bless you.
Let's do. Hold on, thinking.
I believe in you.
Let's do 5 to 15.
5 to 15? Okay.
Yeah.
So about a half chance.
Yeah, 50%. But, center of the bell curve.
Gotcha. 18. They were not discovered. Their identity is a secret. Sorry, Slev. If you want to ask more specific questions about its foundation, though, rather than the individual. Oh, hold on, my chat is glitching. Secret master of the college. Yes, it was definitely created out of necessity. So like I said, Ambalarnen is not like a military powerhouse. They don't really engage in warfare. But if you haven't noticed, like a lot of the other nations in existence on Venice are very contrary to the way that Ambalarnen is set up. You don't really see republics. There's the Albion is an empire. You have duchies. You have
Emirates.
unions of clans. Yes, emirates, sultanas, empires, tribes. But very rarely do you see republics. So their ideals kind of clash with the rest of the world. And in order to have any kind of influence on the wider world, they have to be a bit more secretive about it. In the event, part of the point of the college, and this is new lore, I don't have this written anywhere, but I've decided it just now.
All right.
Part of the point of the college is Ambalarnen lacks in military power. They make a point of that because they want open and free trade. They want open and free entry. They want to be friends with every nation. But this puts them at a tactical disadvantage were somebody to take issue with them and the way that they run things, attempt to invade them, to take their land. They need a way to intervene in that war to defend themselves without having a military powerhouse. And the College of Whispers is the answer to that. In the event that a nation were to declare war with them, they would not ever win by numbers. They would win with the fact that they have agents in important positions in every country in the world. The first move that they make, if a war was declared on them, would be to cripple the other nation's infrastructure. Kadre, you just left, or are leaving Shinokal. You are at the beating magical heart of the Etherean Empire. If Etherean were to declare war on Ambalarnen, you would get a call right now to infiltrate the Arcanum and destroy its heart, to cut it, to cripple it, essentially. And there are other agents. There are Sun Elven agents in the capital of Etherean. There are agents from the College of Whispers that have been their identities within Ambalarnen erased and reinserted as citizens of other empires. You picked the ambassadorial route. Other people go a lot harder.
That's funny, though, because, literally the most recent arc is, a really good demonstration of I guess, in a way, a preemptive strike.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Because literally what we just did was to take out someone who probably would have guided the Aetherian Empire to a more militaristic and warlike posture.
Absolutely. Yeah. The whole reason that you were sent over there in the first place, your mission when this campaign started was, we think that the Aetherian Empire is up to some magical mischief. They're being very secretive with their newest advancements. They've closed a lot of their doors into their research. We need you to find out what's going on, and if it's dangerous, stop it. Because the Aetherian Empire has always been a little bit of a colonizer, a little bit warlike. They've always been a worry in the eyes of Ambalarnen, and so even though they're all smiles and friendship, you know, you were over there and you did your job. You did just that. Kalistara was a menace, and was working on, although, what was it, Project Monolith wasn't like a danger to outside nations. It was definitely exactly the thing that Ambalarnen disagrees with, and he took that out. But then, of course, also under there are the... he was producing a bunch of magical golems, too.
Yes, he was.
Which doesn't point to good
No.
relations. Anything else you'd like to ask about it, Slev? If that answered your question. I do enjoy the topic of the College of Whispers. Spies are fun.
Yeah, they are. Well, ooh, sounds like there's a question.
Are the agents of the college compartmentalized, or do the other members know each other? Members of the College of Whispers will always know some other members, but will never know all of the other members. Most of the time, the teachers of the College of Whispers are retired agents themselves, and they've been retired for various reasons. Kadre's mentor was retired because his identity was compromised during an operation, and his activities were not drastic enough to necessitate like a full removal where they basically like fake your death. So he can still like go out publicly, thankfully, but he is now a teacher at the College of Whispers because he cannot do field work anymore. I'd say there's compartmentalization between classes. Like, you will basically, at your time in the college, be in contact with a couple dozen other members, and those exclusively. You will all be trained together. You will only ever see each other, and so unless, like, once you're an active agent, you are asked to make contact with other members outside of your class, then those will be the only agents that you know. And it is something that happens, like Kadre, although... Oh, goodness. Kalen, that's his name. Although Kalen isn't, I wouldn't call him like a full member of the College of Whispers because he doesn't have like the bardic training necessarily. He is entirely a social agent, but he is an agent of the College of Whispers. So that is a member that wasn't in your class that you've made contact with. You would know, so it's fine for me to say, that most, if not all, of the individuals in charge of the embassies in other nations are at least like social training College of Whispers members.
Are all of them College of Whispers members, or is it like 10%, 20%?
Oh, I'd call it like 70, 75%.
Oh, geez. Okay.
A lot of the agents end up taking the same path that you did. Ambassadors, quote unquote, from the nation of Ambalarnen are very highly sought after because most of them are bards, so they're very skilled, they can handle themselves, and are very excellent middlemen between other nations when they are like having political arrangements. Quite often, ambassadors from Ambalarnen are sought out to sit in on negotiations and help mediate. And so it's very popular for agents of the College of Whispers to take the route that you do, which means, of course, that the nation needs trusted people who can be trusted in charge of their embassies. It's much easier to put an agent, somebody who's in the know already, in charge, so that agents in the field can feel safe going to the embassy and asking for particular forms of help.
Oh, wow. Oh, geez, I just realized that because of what just happened in the campaign, the Otherian Empire might be calling on Kadre at some point.
Oh, potentially. Yeah. You have done everything that a College of Whispers Bard is meant to do. You've made friends in high places within the Aetherian Empire. You are owed favors by people in power. Yeah. And the Parliament of Aetherian, at least certain members, see you in good regard, so it's very possible that you'll be called up by them at some point, requested. It's also very possible that because of your actions, you'll be lobbied against. Don't want someone else.
No, I don't like
No,
him.
he's a liberal. I don't want him.
I don't want him.
Yeah. But that was a good question, Slav, yes. Thank you for that question.
That actually makes me have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Would Kadre know who is in charge of like the College of Whispers? I mean, is it like the CIA where you like know who the director is?
I'm gonna roll for that. Okay, I did the bad thing and I didn't actually decide what number means what, so hold on a sec. Okay. Almost the same number. It was a 12 and then a 13. Okay. Yeah.
Well, could use the same range as the previous one.
Oh, yeah, no, I was doing what was it? 11 to 20.
Oh, okay. Well.
Is yes. So yes, you would, but you wouldn't know them by name. You would know them by moniker, and you wouldn't have met them. It would be. I'd say that you'd know what they look like, because you'd have to. It's something that you wouldn't be told until you complete your training, though, which you have. So, one of the last things that you would have learned before you departed was the moniker and the face of the person in charge. Him, no. Which, give me a sec.
Stupid.
Because I don't have this written, and I need to get my stupidly complex naming system.
I'd do something that means black sun.
Black sun. Interesting. Oh, here it is. You've been to this page 100 times. Go away. Stop giving me warnings. Let's see. Not that. Sorry for anybody listening, I'm currently translating things.
But that does give me. I mean, if you do end up actually going with the whole Black Sun as the moniker thing, that does give me an idea for like ranks within the organization. Because I remember you basically told me that Kadre had received in what was in essence a promotion.
Yes, you did.
And so I was thinking that it might be an interesting thing to have like the lowest rank be White Sun, and then just kind of have it go through the color. The color spectrum all the way up to Black Sun.
Well, so I did it slightly differently. I'm typing this out, hold on. Just so that I don't forget, I need to put it somewhere. Okay, so the leader...
the Kadre knowledge sheet?
Yes, I'm actually putting it at in your knowledge sheet. The leader would be Duranar. That is their moniker. It means the shadow of the flame. And
fitting.
The reason why I went with that is actually, if you recall, and I haven't elaborated on this, but the capital, Mardiorenia, is home to, I mentioned, the House of the Eternal Flame. It is called City of Brightfire, House of the Eternal Flame, Light of Anura. So the Eternal Flame is kind of an important cultural icon, and the leader of the College of Whispers is, the inverse of that, the shadow behind the light. I like things having meanings.
No, I like it. It's good.
So, good question. Good bit of lore now added. Fabulous. Well, I am open to more questions. If either you or Slev have more, we can expand the topic back again if you run out of things to ask about the College of Whispers.
Actually, no, I am. Are there different departments in the organization of Whispers? Are there different spy specialities?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so I mentioned you went down the route that is, a combination of assassin, rogue assassin, and College of Whispers bard, but you don't have to do that. There are people that will specialize only in one field. So you can end up with people that go full College of Whispers bard, which puts them in a stronger position of resolving things through words. You have people that go full assassin, and are agents that never enter into diplomatic scenarios. They are strictly shadow operations, wet teams essentially. You will have individuals that will actually specialize in the other colleges. Instead, people will end up being College of Eloquence, and will be included in the College of Whispers for their skill and to be clued in and used in operations. But the whole point is they're inserted into diplomatic scenarios or political scenarios and talk their way to their goals, never really fighting. Departments like these will be separate. you have like completely foreign departments. There are branches of the College of Whispers that are underground in other nations, and specifically work on like guiding political fields in those nations. Level of success varies.
They're department heads?
Yeah, there would be.
Oh, okay.
The only one that you would know... Well, no, actually, I don't think that you would know the department heads.
Well, would I know the head of my own department?
Not yet. As you reach higher ranks, you would. But, like, currently the only contact that you need to have is your mentor, who oversaw your class, and so he's the go-between. You go to him for anything that you need. That's basically it. But once you reach a certain rank, you'll surpass the need for that mentor, and surpass the need for direction from him, and you'll be answering directly to the head of your department. And at that point, you would learn their identity.
Ah.
Which I don't think would necessarily be super far off. It'd be 1 or 2 ranks more than you currently have.
Huh. So would the department heads report directly to, like, the director of the College of Whispers, or would there be, like...
Yeah, in most cases. In the foreign departments, I'd say, like, anything that's based in another nation, they would report to, like, a, like, pseudo head, who would... that is actually in the capital, and then they would report to that department head. But, otherwise... Wait, I lost my train of thought. Right, okay, sorry. Each of the foreign operations would have, like, their own department head, and then there would be a department head for foreign operations who then would report to the head of the College of Whispers.
Ah, okay. So the foreign department has sub-departments for each separate nation.
Yeah, which you kind of have to, because, like, the departments that are based in other nations kind of they have to become insulated, and so contact with the main branch is infrequent, kept to a minimum to avoid compromise. So they require a person in charge there.
Oh. So what is the department Kadre is in called?
The department that you are in, that's a good question. Let me think.
Because I know he's a split between a diplomat and assassin.
Yeah. So the department that you're in.
Because I guess, like, the full, like, rogue assassin department would just be, like, the Ambalarnen version of Black Ops.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if I shouldn't maybe change the way that I organize that. Let me actually put this into... Let me direct this question towards chat, because I see that I have 4 people watching. And see what you guys think. Would it make more sense to have the departments split up by type of agent, like strictly assassins, strictly diplomats, the kind of combination teams, or stuff like that? Or would it make more sense to have them split up by type of operation that they specialize in? If anybody has input on that, I'll wait and see. what you guys say.
Um,
You're allowed to weigh in as well, of course.
Maybe. Well, could you clarify exactly what you mean by type of operation? Because I'm having a little trouble understanding what the difference between type of agent versus type of operation.
So type of operation would be like, you. Okay, so there would be like undercover infiltration, or like if it was split up by type of operation, it might be like sleeper agents would be a division. It might be. Oh, okay. Slev gives a good point. Each department should be split by region. Roving agents should have their own department.
So Kadre would be a roving agent.
Yeah, because so here is the question: would you rather be if we went that route, would you rather be a roving agent, or would you rather have like been a part of the department that was dedicated to like Ethereum?
I feel like if Kadre had not
Difficult one.
well, yeah, because the thing is that if Kadre was a roving agent, I guess I'm having to beat myself out of the preconception that roving agents are somehow less valuable.
There's no difference in value. An agent that is dedicated to a particular region would, like, as part of their training, understand knowledge on that region. In particular, they'd have to be roving agents.
Then I would definitely say Kadre's a roving agent because he didn't have knowledge on that and had to inform himself of it.
Gotcha.
And
yeah, roving agents would be more trained in like being able to bounce between regions and pick up information as they go along, which actually I think makes sense.
Yeah, like,
for
more
you,
the more sense.
Yeah, because in that way you'd have a lot more ambassadors in that kind of department, ambassadors, quote unquote, in that kind of department, because if they're going to be requested for different regions, then it would be better for them to be roving agents, because they could be deployed anywhere instead of the Albion comes up and is like, hey, we need one of your ambassadors to mediate, and they have to be like, oh, okay, and just choose from the Albion department. So let's do that.
Okay, so the roving agents are actually usually the people who have the bardic assassin split, and who are usually the ambassadors.
They will
places
most typically be of a classification like yourself, or go strict bard, because they frequently need to be like have a public face. Gotcha. Well, as the regional departments will have a lot more like assassin types, strict assassin types, and wet teams who already know the region, and so like are already informed of everything that's going on in there, and they can like specifically be designated even by specialty of like sub-regions within those nations. I love this.
This is really cool. This is really cool to talk about, actually, because it's basically getting to design an entire like spy organization on the fly.
Oh, absolutely. This is what these streams are for. So departments broken up typically by region. These departments will
I like that a lot.
specialize
That was a really good idea, Slav.
heavily in wet teams and assassins with knowledge of the particular regions. I'm just doing cliff notes so that I don't forget this information. And then we have departments dedicated to roving agents, cadres, departments specialize heavily in ambassadorial types, able to be deployed to any region, and quickly learn information about that region. And then there would be another department of Shadow Ops. Department of Shadow Ops would be overseas planted subgroups in other nations which specialize in sleeper agents. There we go. So three main types of departments. There we go.
So, wait. So the departments are broken up by region.
Yes. So there's a bunch of departments that are broken up by region, usually by nation.
Okay, so there are departments for each nation, and then within those departments for each nation, there's like sub-departments of the type of operation.
No. So there are a bunch of departments that are broken up by region. So you have like a department dedicated to don't do that. You have a department that's dedicated to like Ethereum, to Albion, to the Sultana, stuff like that. These would be like specializing heavily in wet teams, that sort of thing. Then you would have a few departments that are all kind of under one head, that are like three of them that are dedicated to roving agents.
Oh, okay.
And they all like sort of interact a little bit, but they compartmentalize a bit for safety. It's all like sort of one department, but you know, it's just so that if one department were to get compromised, they wouldn't lose everything. Anyway, that's your department, specializes in ambassadorial types and can be inserted anywhere, quickly learn the region. And then you have the Department of Shadow Ops. And the Department of Shadow Ops is specifically the head and a number of staff, I can't think of the word, are present in the capital for paperwork. My vocabulary is going down the drain today.
Wait, what term are you wanting?
Well, that's exactly the problem, isn't it? The term that I want is like the bureaucracy, like the operations, the paperwork, that kind of stuff.
That would be support.
Yeah. So there's a couple of people and the head of the department for Shadow Ops that are in the capital. Everything else is exactly what I explained before.
Also
there
analysts.
is analysts, that sort of thing. The head of each Shadow Op is like planted as a director wherever they are, and then all of the other operators and agents are sleeper agents. the kind of people who completely take on a new life within wherever they're planted until they are needed. That's the Shadow Ops department.
You mentioned that there were 3 departments, so there's like Shadow Ops, there's the ambassadorial types.
And then there's the regional.
Okay, so there's just 2 under this one head, not 3.
No, Shadow Ops isn't under the roving agents. Shadow Ops, so you have regional, roving, and Shadow Ops. Those are the 3 main.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
For security purposes, like the regional each has its own head. And, there are as many regional departments as there are regions, yes. For roving agents, since it can't be necessarily classified, like the departments that handle roving agents can't be classified necessarily by type of operation or region. They are instead practically the same and have a middleman, but each one has its own head. And that way, there are 3 of them, only because in the past it has been an issue of like a chain of compromisation, where one person has been compromised and it's just been like a domino effect, and so they now have 3, because that way, if that were to happen, only one of the departments would fall and they'd still have 2 departments of roving agents that are perfectly fine.
Ooh, gotcha. Okay. So there are like 3 sub-departments of roving agents.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Who knew that a giant shadow government would be confusing? Slev, I think that we all know.
Shadow government.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a shadow government, it's just a department.
It answers to the government, or does it control it?
I'm not saying it's not a... Well, I mean, yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't answer to the government, I'm just saying it's a department of the government.
Yeah. I was just being funny. It's like the CIA. Who really controls the CIA? The government, or does the CIA control the government? According to past presidents, it's the latter. Anyway, we won't get into real politics. I'm not touching that on here. Cool. Well, that solves the problem of how the departments are split.
Now how to name the department Kadre is in. Because
yeah.
ambassadorial types or roving agents sounds kind of... meh, if I'm honest.
Oh, God, I just thought of... So, it could be Rove 1. R-O-V-E.
No. No.
But it's so close to Rogue One.
And you know what happens at the end of Rogue One? Everyone dies.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a department has gone that route. Then you could be Rove 2.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway. Yeah, okay, so what would a good name for thee? I don't want to, name an Elvish. I think
World Walkers?
Why it be so dad? Because I am fueled by dad jokes, Slev. Deal with it. World Walkers. I like that.
Ironically, that is what Kadre's last name was supposed to translate to.
Until I messed it all up by, having an actual system.
By being like, actually, that's what this means. And I'm like, well, that's actually still really fucking cool, so...
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think about...
Basically means you can run, but you can't hide.
Indeed. It's very fitting. Okay, so World Walkers would be your department. And I will decide later whether you're just like World Walkers 1, or Alpha. or whether it's going to be like each of the three are in the same like vein of naming, but sound completely different.
I get a code name? Ooh.
I mean, like, you know, there's 3 departments, so would it be World Walkers
Oh.
Alpha, Beta, Gamma, or would
No,
it
I see.
be like World Walkers and then something that is similar for the other 2? But you can absolutely have a code name.
I mean, it would. I guess it would make sense because.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what would. Here's a question for the people on the channel. What do you guys think would be a good one? Because I feel like giving myself a code name would be silly.
Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it wouldn't necessarily. It's just part of the fun. But there's nothing wrong with audience participation and naming. So Slev's the only one that I've seen talking, but I see that I have 4 viewers right now, so if anybody else wants to give a suggestion for a code name for our dear friend Kadre, you're welcome to. Slev, you're welcome to as well. I wasn't excluding you. I'm trying to think of a good one.
Yeah, I'm also sitting here kind of stumped. I'm like, oh.
I don't know how to do code names, man. It's hard.
Dragon is too obvious. Way too obvious.
Slev says it could have been a part of your training, like at the end of your training you take on a new name, codename World Walker, something like that, and then he suggested Spy McSpyface.
Spy McSpyface.
I think that one is a little bit on the nose.
Just a little bit.
Maybe just slightly compromising to your identity.
Just a little. Yes.
No one will ever know. Yeah, everyone will think that you're just crazy. Hello, I'm Spy McSpyface. Oh, this guy's totally not a spy.
This guy's
This guy reads so much spy fanfiction.
Oh,
What a dork. And then as you are standing over them after they've drank poison, oh god, they were actually a spy! I never would have guessed.
You would if you weren't such an arrogant bastard.
Well, I don't know why my mind just keeps wanting to do Rainbow. Your name is just Rainbow.
Oh my god. Rainbow World Walker.
Rainbow World Walker. Man, that sounds like a hippie name.
It really does. Almost like...
Hey man, I'm Rainbow World Walker. Nice to meet ya.
I literally met someone whose actual real life name was Forest Sky.
Forest Sky. Wow.
Yeah.
Their parents smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah.
I
think they did.
Good for them. Let me think.
Galileo.
Galileo. I like that, but it has 0 meaning in the world context.
Yeah, I mean, we could find someone or find a name that has similar meaning in the world context.
Interesting point.
Italian astronomer, physicist, and engineer.
Slev recommended totally not a spy. Well, what if we do... I mean, are you looking at the... Yeah, Slev, you are the best at naming things. we thank you for your contribution. Would you like to go down the astronomy route?
I think I'm looking more at the Renaissance man kind of thing. Because that really is, honestly, what Kadre is, the more I read about it.
Let's see. Meaning, hold on. Oh. That's a little bit funny. I thought of, like... So, like, naming yourself after a constellation. Let's see. Slev says Vincent the World Walker, or Donatello. Umbra World Walker. I like Umbra. And I was going to toss out there, like, naming yourself after a constellation, which Parvus would be a good constellation name, but then I looked up Parvus, which in Latin means, evidently, small, little, cheap, ignorable, and unimportant. Which, I mean, you could do it as, like, because technically Latin doesn't exist in my world, so none of those meanings matter, but also, like, even if they did, that would be kind of an amusing way to name yourself of, like, I'm completely unimportant. A deflection. Umbra is Italian for shadow, evidently.
Oh. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
It reminds me of, like, ombre. Like,
Yeah.
Which
Ombre.
Which would, like, you know, the hairstyle where you, like, have it fading into another color, which kind of is fitting in its own right, since Kadre has all of his colors. I do like Umbra. I think that Umbra is a strong candidate in my mind.
Hmm.
We have Umbra and Parvus.
Let's see. Well, actually, let's see what the word Galileo actually means.
Interesting. What does Galileo mean? An Italian astronomer.
That's...
It may not mean anything.
Italian male name, Galileo, since the surname Galilei derives from the Latin Galileus. Oh, come on. Why is it...
Oh. So Galilee is a region in northern Israel, which is home to Jesus.
Oh. That's a religious reference.
The name Galileo is primarily a male name of Latin origin that means person from Galilee.
Oh, meaning of Galilee. Okay.
Yeah, so, well, there you go. There's your definition. Kind of deflates that a little.
A little bit. Let's try Medici.
Place names do have a habit of turning into names. I need to remember that when I'm naming people in my campaign.
Noble family that produced 3 popes. Interesting.
Medici is a place name as well, yeah.
Okay. Well, that does give an idea, though. Like, what's the would there be any...
Oh, you're right. De Medici, of Medici. That's right.
Well, hold on. What's the continent that that lizard folk are supposed to come from?
Well, you see, as you've recently learned, that continent doesn't exist anymore.
the one that has the highest population.
Well, the difficulty is that the population of lizard folk is actually very low across the world. They are a scattered people that aren't really attributed to any one nation in particular.
What would
if you
be...
want now, if you're looking for something maybe a bit mysterious,
Well, actually, the idea I just had
Lustria. Interesting. That's a
would
good
be
question.
because of that. Then, in some ways, he'd be considered like from nowhere. So, what would the Elvish version of that be?
That's a good question. What is nowhere in Elvish? Alhad. Alhad is nowhere, so if we want to do of nowhere. Oh, no, not like that. That. Thank you. Translate. Alhadna would be of nowhere.
That's actually perfect. Alhadna Worldwalker.
I like it. So I will add a line here. Kadre's code name. Hadra.
How's that for some living lore?
Wait, not Ra. Sorry. Hadna Worldwalker. Thank you. That is great. This is perfect example of the living lore. New part of my campaign. Lustria is the home continent of lizard folk and Warhammer. Okay, that's where that came from. Yeah, in my campaign, the home of the lizard folk is non-existent. Only Kadre, really, at this point, knows the fact that I just spread it out. Well, and
Aelin.
Aelin and the person that told it to you in the first place, Shania.
Yes.
Which is that the continent from which they come was locked behind the walls of mists that enclosed the world in a cataclysm some time ago. Okay, so Alhadna Worldwalker. Alhadna means of nowhere. There we go. That's added into your sheet so that neither of us forget. Yeah.
Well, that's a cool as fuck code name.
I like it. I like it. It's kind of like, reminds me of the butler of what's his name that you met?
Yeah.
The Shade. Yeah, the Shade's butler. His name means nobody. Makes you wonder if that's his real name.
Yeah. Probably not.
That's Asher's journal. Hold on. Let me find my actual one. GM notebook. What did I name him? There's way too many things in my world to be expected to remember them offhand. Oh, look at that. I took the note somewhere else. Oh well. You'll just have to deal with not knowing his name unless you really want to ask that question.
I don't really.
That was more directed at the chat anyway.
Okay.
So. Fabulous, though.
Whole department, code naming structure.
Mm-hmm. All things created right here while you were watching.
Interesting idea for the naming of the three different like world walking departments. Is there a constellation that has like 3 stars in it?
A constellation that has 3 stars.
Kind of like Orion's Belt, but for your world.
Oh, good question. Yeah. Let me think. typically, constellations in our world revolve around, classically, mythological creatures, heroes, gods, and the like. So now I have to think about what kind of mythological creatures, heroes, stuff like that.
And they might have different names from different countries based on that country's historical origins and their own mythos.
Well, yes and no, because the thing about constellations is that, there are obvious exceptions to this rule because there are some stars that stand out in the night sky, but all of the stars and their formation as constellations are really up to interpretation. So a lot of the time, as you move towards a globalization, names get locked in because a particular one of the cultures will have named a constellation and another culture won't have used those same stars because they didn't see the constellation there necessarily. They had their own markers. So one that would have 3 stars. I'm thinking a spear. Oh. One moment. This is... I'm having to struggle with this because this would have originated in Kinra. So obviously, I don't have a translator for that because it's not directly Chinese or Japanese, but it is a language that's made to sound like Asian languages. I haven't made the language. So, I would call it... Oh, let me get my GM notebook so that I can write this somewhere. Xingmao?
Okay, and then what would the 3 stars in that constellation be named?
Okay. Let's see. One moment. Gotta make a new page. Okay, constellation. Spear. The 3 stars in that constellation. Well, Messier codes wouldn't be a thing. So we'd have...
Messiah codes?
Messier codes are assigned to stars now. It's you have
those,
letters and numbers for specific designations. We have GC. Wait, hold on.
提示
Shishi, which is the tip of the spear. We have
最佳
Jia.
最佳
Sorry, hold on. I'm writing as I'm saying this, that's why I'm going slow.
Another one that
Ja would be the haft. And then
离开
Kai would be the hilt.
Okay, and what would the Sun Elven translation for each of those be? Because those could be the like different department names.
Hmm. Ah. I see. Let's see. We have Teal. Hold on. So Teal for the tip. We have. Mouth, rather. Mauth would be the haft, and then the closest translation for hilt in that type of meaning would be end, so that would be Medwi. There we go. So Teal, Mouth, and Medwi.
Cool. What do you think of that?
I like that. I do like that. And that would be for the roving agents.
Yeah. The World Walker departments.
Okay. Wolf Walkers would be the colloquial then. Which department would you want to be?
Probably Teal.
Okay. Teal it is.
Oh, that could be so cool. Like the agent's code name would be their, like the name that they take, the section that they're in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and then your chosen name would end up being the Tip of Nowhere. By the way, so that's very amusing.
That is very amusing. If it was the haft, then it would be. Then another translation for it would be the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely, it would. I love that. Almost makes me want to say that you're part of that one, but that's fine. You can be Teal.
The tip of nowhere also is really interesting too, because it's like,
yeah.
how are you the tip of nowhere?
Oh, I didn't finish translating. Tip, mouth, haft, and Medwi, end, or hilt. There we go.
And it was Al-Hadra?
Yes, Al-Hadna.
Al-Hadna.
Mm-hmm.
Al-Hadna Teal.
Al-Hadna Teal. I love Elvish. It's such a pretty language. Okay, well, that finishes that. Next question.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the next question is. I love how I made the prompt about this Kettermorn, but we spent the entire time on Ambalarnen, which is fine. Like,
I mean, it's the same continent.
it's still on Kettermorn. The point of it is entirely to be a prompt, not to enforce anything, so we don't have to talk about the other nations. We are well within what we can do. But there are other nations there. Well, I don't see any questions from chat, so Kadre, did you have any questions or any prompts that you'd like to give?
I guess, I mean, we could talk about the ranks of, like, the different departments, because, I mean, I've been thinking about it, and I'm not entirely sure what to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Like, in terms of naming ranks?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously they'd go with, cool,
Yeah.
named ranks. I feel like the department would do that just because being a spy is a very, very, very risky job, so they probably wouldn't want to give their agents shitty names.
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely. You're joining a spy organization. Everybody wants to feel cool. Okay? That's just how it goes. That's part of the territory, man. Let's see.
T is TIL, right?
Yes, I is with an accent over it.
Okay, I can't type that on my... Well, can I actually?
If you hold down...
I think Hold on, yeah, that's what I'm going to try.
Yeah, if you hold down
Yes,
the letter...
Is it the accent aigu or accent grave?
Grave is up?
Well, it's left and right.
Right.
Okay, so it's the one pointing to the right.
Yes.
Okay. Wait, is the top end pointing to the right or the bottom?
Top end.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It was okay. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
I feel like I should put an apostrophe in AL and H.
Yeah, and I have not named those ranks, which I only just named the ranks for Aylin's organization, which she's been in from the beginning of the game. So, that's about how it goes with me. I don't know what it is with, like, organizations and ranks. They're just so hard to name for me.
Well, you have to, because they have to both designate, like I totally get why they're hard, because they have to both designate a level in the rank, or within the organization, but also have meaning, or have similar meaning for each rank, essentially. Like, you have the Thieves Guild in, a franchise name that shall not be said here.
We're not making money off of. We can mention Skyrim. It's fine.
Okay. You never know. I'm like, we're going to copyright strike. I'm not making money. We're going to copyright strike.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but anyway, but like in those guilds there, I imagine they spent like a fuck ton of time trying to name those things, because it's like, well, we have Lightfoot, we have this other thing, and I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, well, and it gets even more complicated because, like, you have all of the various departments that specialize in different things, and so theoretically, each of those would have different naming schemes.
True. Well, in some ways,
which is true in Aylin's organization. Like, here, let me pull that up, and do keep in mind this is meta knowledge, so obviously don't write any of this down. I don't think you will.
I don't write anything down. That's not entirely true. I don't write many things down. I do write. I have an entire Excel sheet for financial stuff.
There you go. Okay, let me pull up my.
Become the group's banker.
Yeah, so like in Aylin's organization, there are disciplines, and the disciplines are monastic, magisterium, the Siran, the Guadengil, and the Guadenthul.
Well, that actually gives an idea. I mean, because it works kind of similar in, the College of Whispers, because we could basically have it be like, okay, so they're world walkers, so they're roving agents, they're,
traveling the world. They're
Oh, well, the first rank would be World Walker. Or one of the ranks would be World Walker.
Definitely.
You could have something like you can have some denomination of like you have world, sky, plane, that kind of thing, and then some other term for walking.
Okay. We could go... Do we want them to be named in Elvish? Or should we just use the colloquials? Let's start with the colloquials, and then I can maybe translate them into Elvish.
I think that'd be the best thing.
Okay.
Because then you can have both terms.
Yeah, so... So we would start with... So the initiates would have a name. I think that initiates are people in training. I'll come back to that. Man, okay, there's something that I want to do here, but I think that some people might hate it with the way I want to name. So I kind of want the... Okay, let me just throw out this idea. Once you pass initiate, whatever we call that, then you would be a world walker. So Kadre would have been a world walker before he hit his current rank. And then the next rank, and you might hate this, would be Pathfinder. Because I understand now that Mass Effect Andromeda has done it, but there's a theme like World Walker, Pathfinder. I want something to do. I'm stuck on something to do with a door, like not door maker. Well, we have Pathfinder, so it would be Finder, but like a door.
Well, you've got Portal, you've got Threshold.
Yeah, I don't think this really work. So Pathfinder. Oh man, I don't know. Yeah, you could go... Slev says you could go for something like Opener of Ways. Yeah, I don't know if it really fits the... Well, that's actually a good point. If these are going to be translated into Elvish, it may not matter, because, like, words... the way that I do it, it's not, like... strict like Cinder and Arcania, those serve as inspiration, and I like form words out of pieces of them, and oftentimes words will only like translate neatly into like multiple words in English. So Opener of Ways would...
Gate Builder?
Gate
Builder. Actually, no.
Yeah, that's kind of the opposite, though, because Gate Builder like is the implication of like closing something off.
Bridge Builder.
Okay, so we've got World Walker, Pathfinder, Opener of Ways, Bridge Builder. Okay, actually, yeah, no, let's put that in at least as an idea of Bridge Builder. Can rearrange those levels eventually, and then we would need a, like, for department head, like, once, not department head, let's see, we'd have World Walker, Pathfinder, Opener of Ways, Bridge Builder. We would need, the next rank after that would be, like a teacher, somebody like Oringo, your mentor. Architect. I like that. Okay.
And the department head's term.
The guide.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that just makes sense. And then for initiate level, I guess we would drop down to something about like following the path.
Navigator.
Navigator. Okay, that works. So we got Navigator, World Walker, Pathfinder, Opener of Ways, Bridge Builder, Architect, or I might change that to Path Forger, and then the guide.
That sounds better, actually.
Yeah,
Path Forger.
it keeps it strictly in line with the naming scheme. Okay, I will translate those into Elvish later because that takes time, during which it's kind of dead air.
Yeah. So I guess Kadre will be a World Walker now.
No, you were a World Walker, because you...
Oh.
So initiate is when you're
right.
in training, so you were a navigator until the campaign began. By the time you were sitting down with Aelin and having that discussion, you had just graduated into World Walker. Now you are a Pathfinder.
Forger.
Path Forger is the higher rank, so there's Pathfinder and Path Forger.
I thought it was just Pathfinder and then the next one.
No, it was Pathfinder, Opener of Ways, Bridge Builder, and then instead of Architect, Path Forger. Because all of these have to do with paths, so Architect is,
okay.
a little bit out of the naming scheme. Path Forger is more like, building the way.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's probably not a role Kadre would ever wind up in.
Yeah, no, because that's a teaching role. That, Oringo is Path Forger, so that's,
Kaelin, I guess, is... No, Kaelin's the one...
Kaelin is a different specification.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't get into that right now. But Oringo is Path Forger Oringo, which, the whole point is, like, they are builders of the way. They are the people who train the next set. So no, that's probably not something that you would ever get in this campaign, because that involves retirement. Quote unquote, that involves retirement from active duty, which, doesn't make for an interesting campaign.
Yeah.
And it's also probably several decades away.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Maybe. It depends.
Depending on how the campaign goes and whether Kadre finds what he needs.
Yeah, true. Okay, well, we have about 11 minutes left. So if there are any last questions, I'll take those now. I thought about going longer, but honestly, I'm feeling really tired and scatterbrained today, so I think this will be a good closing point soon. But I'd be happy to answer anything else. Nothing? No?
Not one question? Nothing?
Oh wait, it takes time to type.
True. And it doesn't show that they are typing thing.
No, it does not. But yeah, fantastic questions today. Thank you, Slev, for all of your questions thus far. I'm really glad that we got on the topic of the College of Whispers, because it's a very interesting topic to talk about. Alright, awesome. Well, good luck at work then, Slev. Again, thank you for all of those questions. Maybe another time, I would love to talk more about the Malachim Sultana, about the Emirate of Quran, about the Manzilazil conglomerate, the other major nations on this continent. But those, I feel, are going to need significant audience participation, because those three are not heavily constructed yet, so there's not a lot that I can just spiel out without question prompts. Plus, like, you know, it's easy to talk about Ambalarnen, because, Kadre, you're from there, so you already know things. But yeah, we'll make those topics of conversation for another time. Well, then I'll go ahead and wrap up early, because we have nothing else. So thank you to everybody who joined in and watched. Really appreciate you watching. Thank you to everybody who's watching this in post on YouTube. Sad that you couldn't join us, but fantastic to see you watching now. A big shout out again to Ian Fisher, who provided the license for the music that we're listening to now. Again, it's Marquesi. Hold on. It's the Marquesian Desert, and you can find them on Patreon and on YouTube at RPG Music. I'm butchering that again because I'm dead tired. One second, sorry. Tabletop RPG Music. There we go. So make sure to support them. And of course, check out my Patreon. I just dropped the compendium, Shusha's Compendium of Curiosities, Volume 1, which every other week now, I am going to be doing the Homebrew Helper stream, where you can tune in and give me suggestions for homebrew, and I'll build it live on stream. You can bring your own personal homebrew, and I will help you balance and tweak it on stream as well. We will be avoiding classes in the future because they apparently take more than an hour. But spells, items, monsters, anything like that, feel free to bring it to me, and I will help you tweak it, or just throw me suggestions. Anything that we build live on the stream, that I build live on the stream, is released afterwards in Shesha's Compendium of Curiosities. It is free on my Patreon at patreon.com/thegrinninggamer. You do not need a subscription to get it, but if you'd like to toss a subscription to support, then that's fantastic. Anyway, so I'll see you next week for the Homebrew Helper stream again, maybe a bit in the middle of the week if I feel like it. But for now, I will bid you all farewell. And see you all again soon. Kadre, say goodbye to everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.